Welcome to Technical Difficulties, the show.
You gotta sing along, Troy.
No, you don't.
No.
No, you just gotta look
There's
at
no
Hayden,
words.
Hayden and wonder why he's like bobbing.
Yeah. So I'm just going to stare at my microphone.
You do it. Yes.
That awkward stare.
Hello and welcome to entertain this episode
27?
27. Yeah,
Yes.
27. This is a podcast about movies, TV shows, and video games. My name is Hayden, and with me I have Tom
Hi, Tom.
and Mitch, who's
Hey.
Hi, Mitch.
only normal Mitch today.
Hey. Yeah.
Not Macho Man
Carrying
Mitchell
that
Savage.
character. And we have a special guest star returning as the first reoccurring guest,
Yeah.
Mr. Staff Sergeant Troy Mayfield. You are here today because today we're talking about top 10 military films, sans Saving Private Ryan, because that would obviously win.
Yeah.
So, and we have a heated poll online that we had a pretty active listener involvement with. So, awesome job, people on our social media and Mitch for coordinating that. And we'll get to that towards the end of the episode. And of course, the four of us, whoever, because you volunteered to be here, thanks for being here, Troy. Whoever had the lowest movie that they voted for on our listener-based poll has to take some of this no-no juice. This is the bomb. You might have seen that hot sauce on the YouTube channel, Spicy
Hot
Ones.
Ones.
Hot
Ones.
Ones.
Yeah.
Spicy Ones.
Spicy one. That's our version. Spicy ones. But so this is our punishment if you fail in a challenge such as the poll challenge, or if you say a no-no word. And damn and bastard, we have been confirmed, are not no-no words. So,
Finally.
okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and kick this off with our punishment review. Somebody got punished last week.
Who was
it?
Yeah, that'd be me. Again.
Mitchell.
What did you have to watch, Michelle?
Had to watch Dads.
Dad.
It was really not that bad though.
It was like if
It was the number 2 worst show of all time.
That's debatable. But anyways, it comes on and it's kind of along the veins of like comedy as like Family Guy and American Dad.
Yeah.
It's just it's live action.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the big reason it got like bad ratings was because people could associate with real people instead of it just being cartoon animation that everybody loves to have this kind of comedy. But I mean, other than the comedy though, the acting wasn't the best. Was it
Really, Seth Green couldn't act?
no, Seth
No.
Green could not act.
Surely you jest, sir.
The main four people were Seth Green, Giovanni Ribisi, Martin Mull, and Peter Reichert. I think that's just how you say his last name.
So basically, the only person, Giovanni Ribisi, and if you're like not a big time film person, you'd be like, is that the dude from The Other Sister? Yeah, The Other Sister, or the bad guy from
Well, Martin
Avatar.
Mull has been in several things.
Yeah, he was in Clue.
He was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was Jerry
yeah.
in The Ranch off Netflix.
He was in FM.
Giovanni Ribisi is the guy from Sneaky Pete. He was actually a medic in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan, and he's in the one dude in Avatar, the golfing guy.
Yeah.
He was a bad guy in Ted.
Oh yeah, he was the
Yeah.
one that wanted to kidnap the bear.
Yeah, that's
He does
right.
He does a little dance.
Yeah.
with the straw and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Really weird.
But yeah, I mean the show basically they're Seth Green and Giovanni Ribisi. They're two video game developers. They Giovanni's I forgot the character's name, but basically he's married, he's got a wife, and he's got kids. Seth Green's like this bachelor that he's always sleeping with different women every week or whatever. And
That's obviously a fallacy.
but
He's like 4'5". I
Yeah.
don't understand how that.
he had money, that's why.
I guess so.
But anyways, like something happens. Like Giovanni's dad already lives with them when the show starts, and then Seth Green's dad like lost all his money and shows up at the door without telling him that he's going to be living with him. He just like, oh, I'm here to visit for your birthday for the weekend,
And then wacky antics ensue with Dad.
well, into the first episode, Seth Green drops him off at the airport so he can go back.
Right.
He immediately leaves. His dad calls for a taxi, and he pulls up next to him at the red light, and his dad doesn't see him, and Seth Green's just in the window like, why? What are you doing? Why are you still here? So.
It's basically deadbeat dads moving on to more successful kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think the reason why the show didn't do well was because it was offensive to the broad community. What did you say to the broads?
I said to
I
moms.
thought you said to the broads.
What is this, 1928?
Yeah, I
I thought that's what you said.
they had a lot of racist jokes, sexist jokes, sexual innuendos, and all this stuff going on.
That stuff really
But-
only kind of flies
But it was
in cartoons.
But who created the show?
Seth MacFarlane,
Who does what?
Family Guy.
Family
American
Guy.
Which
Dad.
is a
yeah.
show about what?
I mean, I understand.
Everything.
I understand.
So,
I mean, let's be honest. I thought the show was funny.
yeah.
It was not. It's not great acting, but the comedy was. I mean, it made me laugh.
I watched 2 episodes with you or something like that, and I giggled maybe once. But
I giggled several times.
the dad's eating the pot brownies was kind of funny. But other than that, I was just like,
He said he was going to pot their sons under the table, and
Yeah.
at the end, you got the Giovanni guy. He's in a fort made out of cushions, hiding while his their 2 dads are just sitting there singing a song on the guitar.
yeah, you could tell it was very Seth MacFarlane-y, And I think that only works in a cartoon format,
I mean, yeah, I mean,
People can probably enjoy a satire a lot more in a completely unbelievable world, but when you have some aspects of live action, like a Thousand Ways to Die in the West, that movie,
yeah.
it didn't do as well as Seth MacFarlane hoped it would. Ted does all right for some reason. I don't know why.
Because you got an imaginary, not imaginary, you got a stuffed bear that relieves the comedy.
It's still a live action.
And Mac Wahlberg.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd give the show a 5 because there's going to be people that would think it's funny. There's other people that are just going to be offended. But
Yeah.
if you can look and not be overly sensitive, it's funny.
If you,
If
just
you
lighten up and take a damn joke, it's like
Yeah.
I think it's just
If you like stuff like Family Guy and American Dads,
South Park.
It's the same kind of comedy for the most part.
yeah. I don't know.
They talked about, they're making fun of Seth Green, which he's half Jewish or something like that.
Honestly, Blue Mountain State was way more offensive in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
But they make fun of Seth Green in one part. He's like, "Oh, would you want this penguin meat sandwich?" Like one of the dads, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm Jewish." He goes, "Oh well, it's free." So.
it's like
yeah.
But I mean, it made me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, is Seth MacFarlane Seth Green making fun of himself?
But it actually did get nominated for a People's Choice Award the year it came out for Best New TV Comedy.
Wow.
And then
it was all downhill from there.
I wonder I wonder what really happened. I bet you there's somebody somewhere that just started a.
I mean, in the end, it said
brush
that
fire.
it was canceled because it was too offensive.
Yeah. Oh well.
But I found out looking up some trivia. Seth Green is actually in the MCU. He's Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah. I think I did know that. Yeah.
You would find a way to make this some sort of.
Well, no, I was just
Avengers
looking.
movie.
I was looking up trivia, and I was like, I didn't realize he was in the MCU,
Yeah.
even though it's a very small part.
Okay. What else you got there?
That's it for the punishment.
Good job. Well done, Mitch. Your slate is clean until the end of this episode, so you have approximately 50 minutes. Enjoy it. All right. Well, let's move on to our social media. Go ahead and plug that mess, son. See if you can do it without even looking.
No,
Okay. We're not quite there yet.
we have our Buzzsprout, which is entertain.this, ! Instagram is entertain.this. Twitter is @this.entertain. Patreon is our patreon.com, entertain_this. Then we have Facebook, which is our Entertain This podcast group. And then we have Entertain This page. And then on YouTube, we have our Entertain This channel.
Very nice. Very nice.
All with an exclamation point, not ...
Not the ... Those are the bad ones.
Evil.
I like that one.
No, you didn't.
Shush.
How much? Did you listen to any of it?
Blasphemy.
You can't. Get off this show. You might have to take a dab of this no juice just for the reference.
How dare you talk about them?
And of course, we have our Twitch account. So, Tom, in one breath, can you do it?
Entertain_this.
Oh man,
Oh, man.
that's
So
impressive.
glad he got it out.
So, yeah, and we're actually making some decent content for it. So, keep up with that. Cool. All right, now each week we do some research on some stuff that you do want to talk about, not just punishments. And we research upcoming movies, TV shows, and video games. and we review also, hopefully more recent movies, TV shows, and video games in certain circumstances because of the dry spell going on. We work with what we got. But all right, so I have movies this week, and I watched a movie called Project Power, which came out on Netflix. And Friday. So this is cutting edge review material right here. And but it was okay. Yeah, Jamie Foxx in it.
Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
and Xerxes from 300. What's that dude's name? Yeah,
I don't remember his name.
I am a generous god. Leonidas. But it was basically the premise of the movie is there's these drug dealers that have these pills that if you take them, it activates superpower in you for 5 minutes.
Yeah, some latent gene. Like everybody, you take the pill, you're gonna have the same power every time. But you take this pill and activates some kind of latent gene inside your body that gives you whatever superpower it gives.
Like in the beginning, this guy takes it and he catches on fire and just runs around and tries to like burn Jamie Foxx to death. And that was like some of the best effects.
Yeah,
fire.
that was pretty good.
It was really impressive how they did that.
So, is the superpower specific to the person and the pill unlocks it, or it's like
Right.
the
Right.
pill?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like everybody's an X-Man, but you need a pill.
Okay.
But if you overdose on the pill, you blow up. So you can't take like 3 in a day or something like that. I don't know. But so it was the special effects was pretty dang impressive. At one point, the Xerxes guy takes a pill and he turns into this like
Hulking, tumor-looking monster.
Mesticized-looking tumor thing. And it was pretty cool how they did that. Some of the shots were really impressive. They did a whole one-er shot where this giant fight breaks out, but it's all from the perspective of this girl trapped inside a glass cage. So you see her like walking around, and the camera's like over her shoulder, watching this giant extravagant fight take place in the background.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx is out there just fighting a bunch of guys with guns.
Just beating the crap out
He's
of
just
them.
watching as it goes around.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Some awesome cinematography. Sometimes you're kind of like, I think we get distracted by some characters that aren't necessarily like that important. You know, like the girl, I guess that the whole movie's perspective is from. We go on a lot of rap tangents because that's her true and passion and stuff like that, and it just kind of comes out of left field.
She's pretty much completely useless. Like you could have the same movie without her for the most part.
She never took the pill, did she?
No.
Oh, well, drugs are bad. I think that's kind of the theme of the
Drugs.
movie.
The only thing,
Drugs
she
is
really
bad.
does is she like leads them to the people the very first part.
Yeah, it was a little, and I think like that's kind of where the movie gets a little written into a corner. Is after about the first half, you're not really sure why they're doing the things that they're doing, and they're just kind of like
Why they're bringing this teenager along with them.
right, and they're just kind of talking to you almost to the audience about like this is how the movie's going to go from here on, and you know some people make some weird character decisions, and it just kind of loses its luster towards the last half. So it had a lot of potential and then kind of fizzled out. So I gave it a 6.
Seems like there's a lot of these, like, I guess, off-brand superhero movies coming
I
out
know
now.
it's getting old, and
They're all trying to cash in on the void left by Marvel.
Well, it's almost like like distracting because like I think the comic book movies have been going on long enough, you know, and I get it, they're never going to go away, but for somebody else to try and genre their own, you know, like the comic books have been around for 100 years about, so. You can't just walk in one day and be like, here's my superhero. Give me $300 million. You know.
I mean, I thought the idea for the movie was interesting, but it would have been better as a show to explore more about the characters than just like, oh, here they are. This is what they do.
Yeah. It had potential, but like I said, and it's it's on Netflix, so it's worth a watch.
What was the one that came out with the guy from Arrow, the superhero movie?
Code 8.
Code 8. There was that one. The Old Guard.
Yeah.
Immortal superhero people or some sort of.
Yeah, they're like mercenaries. Yeah.
That was all right. We reviewed that one pretty good. So there's my review. And if you agree with me, great. If not, you can go screw yourself on our Facebook page and tell me about it.
Way to show support for the audience there.
Typical
It's
Hayden.
fine.
If you agree with me, you're smart. If you don't, you're wrong.
I mean, it is true.
Go play freeze tag on I-85.
All right. So I got some news coming out. What do you guys want to talk about first? John Wick, Tron 3, Dirty Dancing, or the new Scorsese film?
All of that is written right there.
It is. It's my shorthand.
You can't read
I
any of it.
can't read it.
All right, John Wick. Let's talk about that. So we all saw John Wick 3,
I've
Yes.
seen every John Wick movie.
and we know he almost died at the end,
Yeah.
but he lived because there's a John Wick 4 coming out.
And 5.
And 5. So goes to show that he's going to live to be John Wick 5, and I guess you don't have to worry about him dying in 4. Apparently, the producers wanted to kill him off after John Wick 2, and then in the franchise in a sequel, and that was it. Lionsgate pushed heavily for them to continue the franchise to a trilogy, and now a quadrilogy, and now a quintrilogy. I think is that the phrase?
Yeah.
So
I mean, when they're making
This
that
is
much money, why not?
that's exactly.
I mean, this has been like a resurrection of Keanu Reeves' career.
Right.
It was like the same thing with Liam Neeson with Taken.
True, yeah.
I do appreciate their release pattern because since the corona, they've had to obviously ebb off on production for 4.
Yeah.
But once they're done with 4, they're going to go immediately into 5, and they're going to release them in the same year.
Well, like 4 and 5 are supposed to, from what I read, are supposed to like film all together. It's like part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, and so it'll be like John Wick year, whenever that comes out, 2021,
The year of the Wick.
2022.
I think so.
So,
Yeah.
Baba Yaga.
and those movies are fun. Troy, do you like those movies? Do you like the gun katas and stuff like that, the gun fu?
Yeah, honestly, I can't even think of what the storyline is right now because I think a lot of guys like me just like seeing the action. That's my thing on it. I don't remember really what he's going after or who's going after him or whatever. But
Well, it started with his dog,
yeah, I know it started with the dog, but
and then something else
that was 3
happened.
movies ago, and then Halle Berry showed up,
Yeah, she has
and
dogs.
then they shot each other. And,
Yeah, you get closer to the microphone.
Halle Berry.
Well, it started out with the dog, and then because he, let's see, what was it? I know the second one,
The second one,
he killed the guy's sister, and then
he had the marker, and
Right.
he refused to do it, so he blew up his house
yeah,
and was like, "All right, I'll do it." And then he tried to have him killed, and then obviously
It's
revenge.
whatever. We could talk a whole hour about the John Wick movies, but the Rodecaster Pro has encountered an error in recording his
He
time.
stopped.
Well, that red light's on, so I think it'll be fine.
Corey.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. That will also be the same year, I think, The Matrix 4 comes out. Don't touch any buttons.
Okay.
All right, next, Tron 3. So Jared Leto tweeted a post saying he's going to be in Tron Ares is the name. And then he immediately deleted that post and then said, oh, no, I meant Tron 3. So people are assuming it's going to be called Tron Ares.
the war.
Yeah, whatever.
That's areas now.
There's some speculation that he's some sort of messiah figure, which is Tron is a very
Strange
world
to begin with.
It's not that complicated though. It's like there's a civilian of people inside your computers that are doing things, and now they're giving it a messianic message and stuff like that. So it's I don't know. We'll see what happens. The guy who's directing it hasn't done anything. He's an Australian director, so he hasn't done anything that we've seen.
Yep.
But all right, cool. Dirty Dancing 2 with
It's just
yep.
strange lead in.
I'm ripping this stuff
For the
straight.
ladies.
I'm ripping this stuff straight from Empire Magazine.
Oh, okay.
Dirty Dancing 2 has got what's her name, Grey,
Jennifer Grey.
Jennifer Grey, and I'm calling it now. You will not be able to when people watch this movie and they'll say they wish Jennifer Grey was in that movie because they won't be able to recognize her.
Yeah, 'cause she doesn't look the
Yeah,
same.
she had no surgery.
She looks nothing like she did. So
Patrick Swayze obviously won't be in it.
no,
Why not?
because he did. Yeah,
Ah.
way to mellow the mood.
There'll be no Roadhouse.
So,
As long as that
anyway,
red light's on, if we're good.
so Scorsese's movie is
Another mob movie. He's going to spend $2 million to make Robert De Niro look young.
It's called something about the Moonflower. It's about a tribe in that of Native Americans that discover oil, and basically they get bumped off one by one, murdered. And this is based off a true story, so it says.
Didn't we?
I think we did talk about it.
Yeah, I think we talked about this.
I'm looking up the name now.
This
so.
plot is familiar.
But anyway, so the thing that's fascinating about this movie is that it has got a budget reportedly of $200 million. For
Jeez.
It's Scorsese. He just gets what he
But
wants.
it's a biopic. I mean, yes, it's period piece, but like $200 million, that's like CG level stuff. He spent that much money on The Irishman for the reverse aging thing, right?
On Pesci and Pacino. And
so like,
De Niro.
but Robert De Niro is confirmed to be in this movie, but
He's spending the movie money because somebody gave it to him.
well, some people think he might be spending on reparations to the Native Americans. Maybe, who knows? But I don't know. So, anyways, the movie is called Killers of the Flower Moon. That took a lot of work to look it up while I was talking. Killers of the Flower Moon, and that'll be Scorsese's movie going to Apple TV. So Apple TV's coming into the market pretty strong here. All right, and finally, that's it. That's my movie news and reviews.
Well, finally, I'm
Well
done.
done.
I am done.
I no longer have topics.
You are welcome.
Moving on.
All right, next 2 TV shows.
All right, well, I had TV shows. I'll go ahead and do my review. I watched The Umbrella Academy, another superpowered TV show. It's not that
I'm seeing a reoccurring trend.
It's not that great. Now, granted, season 2 just came out. I've only seen parts of season 1.
I've never watched this show, but I want to take a crack. I want to take a crack at like a guess of what the show's about. I'm assuming the Umbrella Academy is an academy of like some sort of secrecy of kids who are superheroes who are being trained to be like killers or work for a government and do undercover nonsense.
Close. There's no secrecy. Everyone knows who they are.
Oh.
Everyone knows they have superpowers. They just the only thing is they don't know the actual kids' names. They just wear a mask. And they
You have to get
Do
close
they
to
have
the
cool nicknames?
yeah.
Do they wear like different colored shirts? Like
No,
there's the blue guy.
No, they all wear the same school uniforms.
They do have dumb names though. This is
They're
not-
number
They're
1,
numbered.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
I was
Something
gonna say,
happened.
which one's Kid 69? Because
This is a comic book, right?
Yes, it was a comic book, but basically like it starts out where I don't remember exactly why, but all these people somehow like these females got pregnant and gave birth on the same day in like 1960 something, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when these kids grew up, they all developed some kind of superpower for the most
60 something. So this doesn't take place in 2020.
part. Well, no, maybe it's the 70s or 80s, but because by the time they're adults in the film, it's like modern day. So I guess maybe it's the 80s.
I
then
feel like
that
they're our
born.
age, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're in their 30s.
Yeah.
What's with the hairy jacked guy?
Well, that's Luther in the show. I can't remember the actor's name, but basically, he has like super strength, and eventually he gets sent to the moon. No. He has super strength. He goes into some battle because he's the only one left. All the other kids had left the house because they didn't like the dad.
Mm-hmm.
And something happens. He gets hurt, and they give him like this injection to save his life, and it turns him into like kind of like Beast from the X-Men. He becomes this hairy ape-like creature
But why?
because it's the only thing that would save his life because he was dying.
I mean, that's like
Because they did a lot of research on chimpanzees and
Yeah.
developing chimpanzees to be
Oh,
almost human-like, so
okay.
they mixed their super bred chimpanzees with this super strong dude.
why did he go to the moon?
His dad sent him there, and that's part of like the plot twist later on that you find out.
It's
Oh,
a power up.
it-
He's actually a Saiyan.
So
But
plot
his,
stuff.
yeah, his
Okay.
dad sent him to the moon
Okay.
to like study stuff and prepare for
The
the,
moon
end
got
of the
too
world.
close,
So-
so they sent the moon to punch it a little bit further away.
They all have cool superpowers or whatnot. And
Yeah, like one, she has to say, I heard a rumor, and then whatever she says, the person does it. Like they have no control over their body.
what's Ed Kemper and Mary J. Blige? Is that who it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of them, they're people that,
Not Ed Kemper, but the guy who plays Ed Kemper.
yes. I know what you're talking about, though.
It's like,
But,
is he alive?
That was nerd, isn't it?
Basically,
Yeah.
basically, these two time travel, and they kill anyone that tries to mess up the flow of time.
So they're like the time travel police.
Yes,
They're like the ball sack looking dudes from Rick and Morty.
essentially, yeah.
You don't mess with time.
They're there to make sure that time continues the way it's supposed to, which from the beginning of the series, 7 days later, the world's supposed to end. They don't necessarily agree that the world should end, but they're going to follow their job anyways. Why? I'm not sure. I haven't gotten to the end of season 1, but it seems a little dumb to make sure the world's going to end.
So they're basically the bad guys.
Yes.
Okay. And they're going
Now
around.
they start to kind of waver a little bit where I've gotten to. I think I'm in like episode 8 out of I think 10. So I still have to see how they go. But
they
I've seen all of season 1 and 2, and I think it's a great show.
good.
But you're wrong.
maybe season 2 gets better.
Troy has spoken.
I do like number 5. Number 5 is pretty funny, and he's got a cool power. He can travel through space and time, essentially.
Yeah.
He just has to understand the equations and how it works. Which
Is there besides the roving duo bad guys, is there like a mastermind bad guy that's, or is that a secret that we're not supposed to
The
know?
principal.
like I said, I haven't gotten to the very end, but there is this like shadow organization that's trying to make sure everything falls in line the way they want.
Illuminati.
But I haven't gotten to the end, and so I don't know exactly who the main mastermind is.
Okay, cool. So what do you get the show?
Me personally, I gave it a 5.5.
Wow.
I'm gonna continue to finish it, but so far I'm not that impressed.
Wow.
Supposedly season 2 is better, but
What about you, Troy? What do you give it? 1 out of 10.
10 being the highest.
Yeah, I would give it like an 8,
An 8?
7. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, IMDb puts it like either a 7 or an 8. I just haven't enjoyed it.
What's a bit from the show that you really enjoyed? Just a small, like, nondescript bit. Like some witty dialogue or a cool effect or anything. That
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of really cool effects.
That-
And I like the storylines. Season 2 delves into more of like the background of each of those,
Okay.
each character, and the one guy he didn't mention is just this dude that throws knives and never misses. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's almost like he can control the knife when he throws it.
That is pretty
He'd
neat.
be amazing at disc golf.
Aiden Gallagher is the guy that plays number 5, which essentially he's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been saying they want him to be a Damian Wayne because of some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But when you come to find out, like he's a good actor for his character,
Mm-hmm.
but he has a lot of like fight scenes where he's teleporting around and beating up people. But
Yeah, we got to wrap it up news and reviews. So
basically he's not the one doing any of the fight scenes because of child labor laws. He's not allowed to be on any scene with a gun.
Really?
That's what it says. Any scene that has guns in it, he's not allowed to be on set until it's over.
Man, I violated that child labor law a lot, actually.
So you have stuntman Johnny Canes, which does all his fight scenes because he's just a shorter, stuntman that's full grown.
Okay.
But he's the guy that does the stunt scenes. He's been in stuff like Titans and shows like that. But
Okay.
What'd you what news have you for us?
news, I have Animaniacs is returning to Hulu
Really?
as a new series. Like it's still the characters, but it's just
Is Steven Spielberg going to produce it?
They didn't say. They just said that Animaniacs will return in November on Hulu with Pinky and the Brain also being part
Oh,
of
that's
it.
so awesome. I hope they don't change up the animation and make it stupid.
Also,
They'll ruin it.
the Lovecraft Country
Yes.
started on HBO Max. Episode 1 just released. The producer is Jordan Peele. It's supposed to be like a 1950s African American travels through the U.S. looking for his missing dad.
So I tried to read some Lovecraft or listen to some Lovecraft because of the show, and it's hard.
Yes,
it's
it's
boring.
But the
And-
show's
and-
actually not based after H.P. Lovecraft. It's based after a novel that was written that's based on in the H.P. Lovecraft world.
Oh, okay. Well, that probably makes sense because Lovecraft was a known racist. So, all right, cool. What else I have?
That's it. All I have for there. But other than Jonathan Majors, he was in White Boy Rick and Captive State. He's going to be the main guy. Journey Smollett, which was in Birds of Prey as Black Canary, she's the secondary actress. That as far as like the main characters. But yeah, it's the show's based after a 2016 novel that's in the H.P. Lovecraft world.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
probably-
not just his
It's
stuff.
probably better than Lovecraft's original material. All right, cool. Video games. Time.
Games. So, because, well, really nothing's come out, and we're not going to talk about Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So, the review will be probably one of the best games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic,
It's a
the
great game.
2003 classic. What are we looking at?
I'm just waiting. I'm
Go
getting
ahead,
stuff
go
ready
ahead.
while you're talking.
Don't be distracted. Continue on.
As far as video games go, this had it all.
Yeah.
The combat was great. The graphics at the time, great. The story, amazing. The plot twists, the turns, the lightsaber combat. It was the bomb.
It was the story that
It was the story that drove that game.
If I think if you were to have a kid our age today playing that, like our kid that played it when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A 15-year-old kid playing it today, I think they wouldn't be as entertained because it's a what do they call it, where you activate an attack and he does the attack.
Yeah, but you can like keep mashing attack and do other stuff and change it up.
It's kind of like World of Warcraft where like you have abilities that you can just implement, and then it's not really like an action stuff. It's more, it's like a little bit beyond a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, it's not a true turn-based, but it's basically you and your whole party form up against the enemies and just beat the hell out of each other.
But it's good. The story was the first video game story.
Illusion.
First video game story that I've ever played that just blew my mind.
That was the first game I ever got on Xbox when I bought the original one. It came with, and it was like already the greatest hits at the time, or platinum game for Xbox.
Yeah.
And I was playing with my brother and my friends. We're just like, oh my god!
They
And
need
at
to
the end,
remake
it's
that.
like you're Revenant. Everybody's like, what? I'm him.
They need to remake that. And honestly, BioWare needs to just get away from EA. Because they've been striking out with this current generation. So BioWare made that. They made Mass Effect, which is my favorite video game series. And then Andromeda for this generation of consoles sucked. And then they made Anthem, which looked horrible, and I never got into it.
The gameplay trailer that first they dropped looked really cool.
Well, they lied. They did one of those graphic rendering lies, where
like Destiny.
Yeah, just like Destiny. So,
but anyway, back to Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. Some of the stuff, because it wasn't technically considered canon at the time, or it was considered at the time, and then Kathleen Kennedy and Disney were like, nah.
it's not.
But some of the stuff they brought in, some of the planets have been introduced in Star Wars, like the Rebels TV show. Darth Revan's in like a deleted cutscene from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the show,
That's cool. Yeah.
which of course they cut out, and they're just like, nah, keep that out of there.
Okay.
But as far as Star Wars games, it wasn't, the traditional stuff. It wasn't, centered around the, Galactic Civil War, the Clone Wars.
What would you rate it?
I'd rate this a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah, it definitely is in the 9s. So, what news have you for us, sir?
Animal Farm, the game.
The
George
book?
Orwell's book, Animal Farm. They're making that new video game. Rain Studios is doing it. It's coming out on Steam this fall.
Okay.
You have to keep the animals happy. You gotta, get resources, protect the farm.
It's a government simulation game, but from Animal Farm. I mean, that's kind of
that's kind of what
the book is. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. I just never thought about that. So interesting. We'll see how it goes. Steam only.
That's what I saw. I didn't see anything else for a console or anything like that.
Well, maybe you'll play it.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll play it while I listen to the album "Animals" by Pink Floyd.
Okay, well, if you haven't noticed, Mitch and Troy over here are
Plotting
tampering
and scheming
with this phone stuff because the poll has been just rapidly updating as we speak.
Because there's stuff in the ballot box.
There's some collusion going on here.
Political hacks.
So since we're recording, I went ahead and took a screenshot of what it is.
I'm pulling it up right now. I don't even believe you people. I want confirmation.
What was it as we started recording?
I was winning.
Okay.
What is it
What
now?
is this list? What is this list first?
I was winning 10-9. Now it's 10-10.
This is the top 10 military movies.
No, it's just, there's 16 different things that you can vote for.
Okay, 16 different military movies that are not Saving Private Ryan that are good.
Right.
And
Across multiple
you voted for which
years.
one?
We Were Soldiers.
And that was number 1 when we started this.
Yes.
Okay. What did you vote for?
I voted for Full Metal Jacket.
What did you vote for?
I introduced Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, he put it on the poll, and I also voted for Full Metal Jacket.
Are you serious?
I did. So, what is the current list as we speak right now?
10-10.
10-10.
It's a tie.
Oh no.
Push up tiebreaker.
Push up tiebreaker.
I'm just gonna sit here and watch Troy do push-ups and go. I don't need
All
to
right.
contribute.
Well, we can do that. I'll sit on Troy's back while he does push-ups. You sit on Tom's back. And Troy's on my team.
Tom's little noodle arms couldn't do one push up without me.
I could. You can do one.
I could. Maybe.
I can do one.
Shut up.
All right. Well, we'll have to figure out because look, the hot sauce is present. Somebody's got to do the crime.
It's melting through the container at Teldon.
Yeah.
I say the person doing the collusion should do getting his brother or family or whoever it was to vote at the
Texting
last
people
minute.
to stuff the ballot box.
All right. Let's do it this way. I will ask you a random trivia about.
No,
Okay, fine.
because you know all the.
It's already 3-1.
you
In
know
this room,
trivia
it's 3-1
All right.
between those two.
Yeah,
tied
3-1 that y'all voted for, and I still tied without asking my brother. My dad voted for y'all. My mom voted for something
Good. I'm
else,
glad that everybody agrees. Take the hot side.
and my brother voted
Full
for
Metal
something else.
Jacket.
Yeah. All right. What is the list?
First half of that movie.
Brush through the list real quick, starting from the bottom, and maybe throw some names out there. Don't
Let's
do the ones
see.
that people didn't vote for.
Yeah, then-
A Soldier's Sweetheart by Liz.
I don't know what that is.
In Harm's Way by Jamie.
I don't know what that is.
Dunkirk by Entertained This.
This is a great movie.
That was a bad movie.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hacksaw Ridge by Annette.
That's good.
Fury by. Oh, that's added by. Sorry. Fury by John. Let's see. And then there's just so many people there. Let's see. We got 13 Hours by my mother and my cousin. Lone
Hi,
Survivor
Mrs. McGee.
by Gloria, my sister-in-law, and my
AKA
and Phil.
Falling the movie. If you just want to watch Mark Wahlberg fall for an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
Inglorious Bastards by
Losing
Deborah,
his weapon.
Arthur, and Mark.
Yeah.
Let's see. Black Hawk Down by Chris,
Good movie.
my brother. Christopher and Christian are one of our producers.
Oh yeah.
We Were Soldiers
By
by
a ton of people.
me,
Yeah.
John, Carl, Philip, Nick, William, Chris, James, Deanne's husband, your dad,
My dad.
and Dawn.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
And then
He didn't vote twice.
and then Full Metal Jacket by my dad, Tom, Ford, Troy, Hayden, Garmin, what was his last name? Will, Charles, Jordan, and Chris.
Very nice. Wow. Thanks a ton for all the involvement, people. We really appreciate it. And if you didn't vote for Full Metal Jacket, you're wrong, but that's okay.
Obviously not, because
Mm-hmm.
We Were Soldiers was just as equul. Except for it took-
Anyone who runs
That one had the
is
same guy vote
VC.
twice, though.
Huh?
The same dude voted twice for the same.
Troy, what is who voted twice?
Your dad.
No, it wasn't him. Okay.
No, my dad voted for y'all's. His dad
All right,
voted for
moving
mine.
on. Troy, what is out of all these movies on the list, what is one of the most like combat accurate films can you think of?
That's why I liked Full Metal Jacket. I like that it talks about basic training and combat all in one movie. It was really cool. And some of the combat scenes were pretty realistic and lifelike. Some of those other movies were pretty good too. Inglourious Bastards was kind of silly and crazy. I liked it. But
Well, let's be honest about Full Metal Jacket. Does anybody really remember beyond the boot camp?
Yes.
All I remember,
I don't.
all I remember is the chopper gunner and them staring over the dead girl. You know, that's it.
Sniper.
Some interesting stuff. Like a lot of people know that early Army,
R.
R.
Lee
Lee Ermey got his role because he was better than the person they hired.
Well, he was already attached to the film. He was the technical advisor.
Yes,
For
but
Kubrick.
he got his role because the other guy, he was better than the other guy. Well, not only that, none of the actors had met him in person until they started filming that scene.
Yeah.
So their reactions were like real, like they did not realize that was.
well, from what
No,
I,
they did because he took all the actors and put them through basic training for weeks, even the
no,
extras.
I don't think it was him that
no,
did
it's
that.
not him.
No, it
personally.
was.
Not according to IMDb.
According to an interview with R. Lee Ermey, that's what happened.
I think what happened is they were on set shooting, and so the chopper gunner, the guy's like, "Yeah, get some." That dude, he was the original drill instructor that they had
Yeah.
casted for that role,
for like 8 months.
and he was on set, not getting it as well as Kubrick wanted him to get it, and like R. Lee Ermey was whispering basically in Kubrick's ear, and he essentially let Ermey go out there and just do not a take, but like a practice run of what it would be like if he were to
Well, he
go
sent him
off.
Kubrick a tape of him ad-libbing it because doing like the basic stuff, like they just were filming him yelling at everybody,
Yeah.
just going off the cuff, and the tape got to Kubrick,
Okay, so
and
some,
then he was like,
somehow
"All right."
Kubrick didn't take it seriously until he obviously saw the footage or the whatever, and then the rest is history. That guy got booted out from being the instructor. You could tell, like, I watched an interview with that guy, the chopper gunner, and he was a little bitter.
Yeah, he was a little. I saw an interview with him talking about it because he was in Vietnam too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Him and R. Lee Ermey were both veterans.
On the film side of this, supposedly this is also Kubrick's first time filming and editing editing his movie by a computer
Wow.
instead of just having to edit the film.
I didn't think
individually.
I thought they just edited film. Right. Well, I guess what was it? 72?
That I don't know. It just says that I can't remember when it was made, but they said this is his first time editing with a computer.
That's awesome. What other trivia about the movie do you have written down there?
That's all I have
Darn
for
it,
Full Metal
Mitch.
Jacket. I do know what's the guy that plays
87. So that makes sense.
what's the guy that plays Kingpin? It's the crazy guy.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
That's something to know for you.
He actually still holds the record for most weight gained for a role at 70 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Robert De Niro had like 60 something for another movie.
For Raging Bull.
Yeah, right. And then he beat it in this by gaining 70 pounds for his role.
70 pounds. Wow. He's a good guy. I like that, Vincent D'Onofrio. All right, cool. Well, let's talk about We Were Soldiers. What do you think about that movie, Troy?
I like it. I haven't seen it forever. I saw it a long, long time ago, and that was about it.
Yeah. All I remember is the napalm scene. I do like the part where the lieutenant's like harping on everybody about their boots,
Yeah.
changing their socks and stuff like that, because that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Like Sam Elliott's character as a
Oh, the sergeant major. What the
Sergeant
hell you
Basil.
know what kind of morning it is?
Or whether he's standing there and he like reloads, he's like, gentlemen, he just cocks the hammer of his 45. He's like, prepare to defend yourselves. Everybody just starts running in. He's just standing there in the middle of everybody, just shooting people with a
Yeah,
45.
Well, when the actors had to go through the boot camp, they actually said that at the time he was 53 when this movie was made. They said that they weren't going to make him. And he said like, hell, you're not. so he went through it with them, at 53 years old doing, I mean,
Good for him.
You don't tell Sam Elliott what to do. Sam Elliott tells you
yeah.
what to do, and then his mustache follows through.
And his mustache will slap you across the face.
well,
after
I
he's
mean,
done
Mel Gibson said, yes, we're actors, so it was a light version, but it was still pretty tough. And,
Yeah.
for Sam Elliott at 53 years old to do it.
I've done some research. I think Saving Private Ryan was one of the first movies that did that modified boot camp for actors.
Yeah.
And I think that since then they've kind of scaled it down to more like a friendly seminar.
I know
Since
Band of Brothers did that too.
yeah, Band of Brothers. Yeah. So
That for Saving Private Ryan, since everybody for the most part likes that movie, the whole boot camp thing with Matt Damon, he didn't have to do it just so other people hated him.
Yeah.
yeah, that was
That's been a
Spielberg's
big thing because like even for Animal House they did that.
Oh, yeah?
Like all the Delta fraternity guys, they brought them in. They put them together for like 3 weeks in a hotel, and they were just partying the whole time. And then everybody else showed up like a day before the shooting, and they were just like, "No, go away."
They said for We Were Soldiers, Joseph Galloway, he was the photographer for the movie. He was the only civilian to win a Bronze Star in Vietnam.
really.
Yes, because he was helping carry out soldiers that were
Right,
injured and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, they said some of the Vietnamese actors were actually on the North Vietnamese side during the war.
For that movie?
Yeah,
No way.
so I guess some of the extras or something like that.
I mean, it's kind of weird. There's a lot of soldiers that have gone back to Vietnam after the war and live there, and they're very friendly with. Like you hear weird stories about this guy taking a dude's arm as a war trophy. Yes, this is a legitimate story, and he goes back to Vietnam 30 years later, finds the guy with the missing arm, and gives it back to him, and they go drinking together.
Okay.
Yeah, so like there's like a weird catharticism about the Vietnamese soldiers and American soldiers kind of like putting their differences aside 30 years later kind of thing. So.
They said this is also one of the few films it was filmed chronologically. Like when they went off to the war for the movie, they were gone from their families until they got done and came back.
Well, this Mel Gibson didn't direct this, did he?
I didn't see that part. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think he directed this one.
No. So he'd be an interesting guy to direct. Like, what do I do?
Another snippet back to Saving Private Ryan though. The Omaha beach scene cost $11 million and 1,000 extras to make
Man.
for one scene.
I mean,
they hit the nail on the head though.
They did, but that's a
Because
lot
like
of
when
money.
they premiered it, like people were leaving the theater and they thought like they didn't like it, and it's like because they were dudes who were there
Yeah.
on D-Day, and then it's like it was so real to them, like they couldn't watch it.
Yeah,
there was a lot of pressure for Spielberg to make that movie at that time because I think that was the year where I think all the veterans for World War II were at their prime dying age and stuff like that. So if they were to get that homage of a film dedicated to them, it would have to be like in that time. And he was pressured. He was under the gun a lot for that film.
I think they said like they had 100 extras that were amputees that filmed for the show or for the movie. So it's pretty interesting.
Very strange casting call.
We'll move on to the third one on the list that got voted that none of us voted for, but it was number 3 on the list was Black Hawk Down.
Okay.
It was Tom Hardy's first big movie, like that he didn't have a starring role, but he was in it, and Eric Bana's first American big film, first American.
That's
film.
right. He's British, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But they said that Ridley Scott, a bunch of stray dogs kept running on scene, and just for authenticity, he just let them wander while he was filming. He said it made it look more real.
Yeah. All right.
There's a lot of guys who were in that movie. That was kind of one of those ensemble casts.
Orlando Bloom, Josh Hartnett,
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
They said they filmed it in Morocco, which they ended up using a lot of the Moroccan military to be like the Somali military that was on their
How
team.
do you
and stuff.
coordinate that? Like, Cheryl, give me the Moroccan military on the phone.
Get him on the line. Yeah. Right, yeah.
It's a good film. That's one of Ridley Scott's best films. There's a lot of errors.
Well, they said they used a lot of the drone footage that you see, or like satellite footage, is actual footage from the stuff.
Yeah.
And the Black Hawk's going down for the most part until it's like getting ready to hit the ground. They actually used a skilled pilot that was able to spin the helicopter the way they needed it to, and then they CGI'd it hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Which was pretty impressive, I thought. Because
that's a ballsy pilot, right?
Yeah. So
we watched a Bridge Too Far the other day, and we were poking fun at all the stupid plane effects. Like they'd have this plane fly low behind a tree canopy, and then they detonate an explosion
would come up.
and then you see the little plane take off in the background. So they couldn't even edit that one part out. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they do that stuff. They try to have as authentic, practical, pilot effects as they can. And I don't know. Sometimes I think CG probably goes a little bit further than that. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's a scene from any movie, Troy, that has some of the most authentic, like team communication, combat speak, react to fire, weapons jamming and all that other kind of stuff. What's something that just pops out that you could really appreciate?
Man, you put me on the spot.
Yep, that's why you're here.
I can't think of anything from movies like that. What comes to mind is not on the list, and you told me I'm not allowed to talk about it, but Extraction was really cool with some of his tactical maneuvers and stuff. I was blown away by what he did in that movie. It's not really a military movie.
Well, there's a big push, and we just watched a thing on stunt doubles, where they are really concerned about making sure they have authentic weapon fights, and they'll count rounds, they'll reload, they'll have to do tactical pausings to reload, tack reloading, and all this other kind of stuff. And that's a big push for authenticity for films nowadays. And obviously, John Wick probably being
the number one,
proponent of that, but I think it still exaggerates a lot of what you could do and could not do in a firefight. Extraction's not bad. There's some scenes where he kills a guy with a rake, and his name is Tyler Rake, which is
a little on the nose.
A little bit there.
Does he rake his guts out or something?
He stabs him in the face or something with it?
No, I think he falls over and just lands on the. I don't
Yeah.
know. But the weaponry, not raking stuff. See, I
Not
think
garden tools.
I think what stands out to guys like us is the stuff that doesn't go well. I could much easier answer the question of something that wasn't very militaristic or what was wrong. We mentioned Lone Survivor earlier.
Exactly.
That is just one long movie of what the military doesn't do, or it didn't look right.
Yeah.
And
let's actually talk about that for a second. So the Lone Survivor is about a squad of Navy SEALs, right? And they go out to this mountain, and they're supposed to be observing, right? And they decide to engage.
Well, no,
their cover gets blown.
Yeah.
The kid sees him, right? Yeah. And instead of basically detaining the kid, they just let him go, which they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I mean they tied up the granddad and the oldest kid, and then the little kid, or no,
They tied up like all three of them. And
Yeah.
they're debating like whether or not to kill him or let him go or just leave him tied up.
yeah, and then they decide to let him go, and the like oldest kid runs down the hill to warn everyone.
Yeah, I don't know what really happened because it's based off of a true
Right.
event, but there are some things that were stupid. Like they in the movie they positioned themselves in some really questionable terrain. You know, they don't have any of their weapons secured to themselves when they're falling forever. And doesn't he lose his weapon at some point?
I think every scene he loses his weapon, but then the next scene he's got it
He
right back
magically
on,
got it
so-
back. Yeah. Some of the sniping stuff was pretty good, I thought. But it was okay. It seemed like it wasn't a military movie because it ends up being one guy just trying to survive out in the middle of nowhere, and he's not doing anything necessarily like military to do so. You know, he eventually goes into a town and asks for help and stuff like that. And it's a Mark Wahlberg film, so yeah.
I thought 13 Hours did pretty well as far as like, now granted it wasn't military because they were working as contractors for the CIA for protection. But I
13 Hours Benghazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so technically it's not military, but then at the same time they're protecting American citizens and they were former military. But
Yeah, they do some military tactics.
I thought it was pretty good on how they showed that, they hunkered down and the way they, set up themselves to defend against this
They
whole
talk about
city.
choke points and
Yeah.
stuff like that for firefights and things. The one dude gets his arm half blown off, and he's just self tourniqueting and all
Yeah.
this other kind of stuff. That was pretty cool. Because I mean that's true military tactics. You render self aid first. So
And how they were, as they were waiting for him to get close enough, and they were marking them with the lasers, and you're like, see this guy,
yeah.
making sure each person could pick out who they were because they had the NVGs with the laser sight, and
It's like Warzone. Life pin.
yeah.
so
There's some relatable, like in Black Hawk Down. What stands out to me is the guy shooting with no ear pro.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that?
yeah. He's
And
deaf.
he's like, stop shooting. But that's such a real life thing because everybody thinks in the Army, like, if your hearing goes bad, you shouldn't lose hearing because they give you ear protection. But when the crap goes crazy and something blows up or somebody starts shooting, you're not going to have time to, like, stop and
Put
put
this
your ear
stuff
pro in. Or
Bad
any
guys,
other
time
protective-
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and honestly, like everybody, sneezes at hand and arm signals, but you're not going to be able to hear in a firefight.
Right.
You know, you can't do radios because you can't hear anyways. There's a firefight. Maybe you might have some Pelletors or whatever those things are called. Pelotons. What are those things?
Peltor.
Peltors. Could help muffle out some sound, but for the most part, hand and arm signals is the way to go. And everybody should know what's going on anyways. So. That's just chaos management in a battlefield. Honestly, like the best examples of that is I think in Saving Private Ryan, where Vin Diesel gets sniped,
yeah,
and they all want to run out to help him, and Tom Hanks won't let him, and he's like yelling, he's letting the sniper guy maneuver. And
Yeah.
you see the whole movie is Tom Hanks just like herding cats the entire
Yeah.
time until he dies.
It's like, we're not here to do this decent thing. We're here to follow effing orders.
That's the closest approach to I think
Yeah.
of what any military mission is. It's just telling a bunch of people no, you can't do that.
No,
So-
no. Stop. Get your head out of your butt. Knock it off.
Well, and I've never been in military combat or anything, but in Saving Private Ryan, you have the little typewriter guy that's the translator.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat to see how his
I
personality,
hate that character.
well, but to see how his personality changed from the beginning to the end when he
Yes.
realized that it,
And I get it's
war.
World War II,
yeah,
but that's never going to happen. Like you're not going to. I mean, everybody in the army is trained how to fire a weapon, but I can't think of any situation in modern combat unless like
it's not that he wasn't trained; it's just he wasn't prepared for
right.
what he
His
needed.
job is not to do that kind of stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
That was his specific job was to record information.
right,
And in modern, unless like you're a recorder guy and your office area and country gets overran by the bad guy, that's the only situation you could be in it.
But I mean, you also got to think at that time, these people they didn't choose to go to war; they just kind of got said, "Hey, you're going." So
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's different times, you know.
And you're not going to be very successful if you're thrust into that situation anyway. Because, like, the people that, if it's not your job to do it, just because you have to pick up a weapon, and I'm sure we all could pick something up and squeeze it, but those people really aren't gonna actually probably hit their target or anything like that.
No.
It just showed how his personality changed from being very timid to, eventually at the end he sees the same guy that he let live
Right. And
that
he
killed,
him, I mean,
Oh.
and I don't think they're trying to portray that to be the right thing.
But you just see how his
But,
character grew throughout the movie.
I mean, the war makes you into a killer, you got
to do what you got to do to survive.
But it's like there's so many, like Steven Spielberg, good job making this movie. But the writing for this film, like there's so many layered stories of what's going on.
Like the pool on like what the Tom Hanks' character.
Tom Hanks' thing,
did.
the letter from Vin Diesel passed from dead soldier to dead soldier, till the end of the movie. There's so many little things that go on in that film. It's just not just a great movie. It's not just a great war movie. It's a great movie in general. Like it's a writing masterpiece, and I could talk about that all day long. So, yeah,
That's why I didn't include it in the list, because I figured all of us could vote that it's probably one of the better movies
it's my
of all.
favorite movie. I watch it at least once a year. So
We did have a couple of people in the comments say that they didn't like it. They didn't explain too much why, but they just said it's not their favorite movie.
Saving Private Ryan,
Yeah.
get out.
But, that is why I didn't include it in the list, because it would have won probably hands down.
There's a movie on here that I think deserved a little bit more of, or at least a vote, and that's 1917.
Yes, well, I think it's
That
smart.
was a great movie.
I think 1917 is going to be a legendary movie, but it's just too new. It came out less than 6 months ago, right, or something like that.
Yeah, in January.
So it's too new. But I mean, I can't sing enough praise
scenery
for it,
and
yeah.
set pieces for that.
Yeah, it was an amazing movie.
Like when they're first leaving the trench and
have you
going
seen
through
it?
no man's land, like the abandoned no man's land. Like you've seen like a skull fragments like in the mud next to his foot.
It's the only movie that does World War I justice, and the whole movie is probably like 3 long shots. I mean, they do some false cuts and stuff here and there, but by the end of the movie, when the credits roll, you're just like, oh man.
Well,
I'm tired.
the whole thing starts out with 2 guys, and they got to make it to the front line to give a warning.
To halt an attack because they're walking into a trap.
Yeah, and essentially they got to go through enemy territory. They don't know if the enemy's there, if the enemy's retreated. What they just have to get to the front line.
They just rat their way through enemy lines and stuff. It's really good, really really good. And the best part is I think is they have 2.
Rat.
They have 2 no-name characters that are basically the main characters, and they have like Benedict Cumberbatch and a bunch of other
Colin
people.
Firth.
Yeah,
the guy who played Rob Stark.
they're all important people that are like just have 5 minutes of fame.
They're officers.
So to speak, yeah. So
They're all officers.
good movie. And I think it'll be definitely on the list. A year, 3-5 years from now. So, but it's just too new to have that legendary status.
I'm also kind of mad nobody voted for Patton.
You did it originally, right? And redacted your vote.
You're the one that wanted me to add it to the list, and then you didn't vote for it.
Well, I mean, a list like this, if we're doing like war movies, like we have to go by war.
Right.
I mean, even like with World War II, you'd have to do like by theater.
I remember in basic training, they played the Patton speech for us.
At the beginning?
Motivate us, yeah. You stick your hand in the goo. That was your friend's face. You'll know.
I mean, there was movies like American Sniper, Zero Dark 30, Patton, 12 Strong, Hurt Locker, 1917, and Jarhead. None of them received any votes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, most of those are, if not good, they're okay movies.
Jarhead's a pretty reasonable explanation of what war is like. Just nothing.
But, I mean,
Boring.
it's a war movie.
Yeah.
A lot of nothing.
So I figured somebody would vote saying, yep, that's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
But I think there's people that there's movies on here that have very specific genres. Like I can think of one person for each of these movies that, like, I know a guy that's EOD. He's a good friend of mine. So he loves the way the Hurt Locker plays out. I got sniper friends that, and then the movie Fury.
Yeah.
Like I'm in an artillery unit right now. So like all these movies, like if they're not liked by a lot of people on this list, it's because they're pretty specific to the. They have a specific audience, I guess.
And it's not to say
good.
It's not to say that the people voted didn't like it. I made sure to limit it to where only people can only vote once.
Well,
this time.
you got to think from a marketing standpoint too. Like they're like, hey, let's do a war movie, and they're like, okay, what's going to be different about this war movie? Tanks. All right, we haven't done a good tank movie yet.
Yeah.
So like artillery people, that's kind of like they're not saying we're going to cater to the artillery people of the United States of America. That's like what, maybe like 30,000 people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so they're thinking like, how do we portray a really good tank movie that anybody can enjoy? You know, so marketing for war is interesting as far as films and stuff go. Like that new Tom Hanks movie,
The
Greyhound.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It was boring as a.
It was drawn out.
Yeah.
There's at some point they're like, you know, submarines 6 o'clock, and they all look out, and you'll just see it's just an ocean. You're like,
Yeah.
they're out there, yeah.
They're under the water. I mean, as far as a submarine movie goes for World War II, or pretty much any submarine movie, Das Boot.
Oh, yeah.
That's the definitive movie.
Yeah.
Especially like the director's cut when you watch it in German.
Das Boot.
Like you feel claustrophobic watching it.
Well, we got to wrap this mess up, fellas. So,
Time to hit the old dirty trail.
well, cool. Thanks so much for the involvement. Thanks so much for for Troy here. Troy,
Take it away.
who won the poll, by the way? It's still
It
time.
was still 10-10. Yeah.
A tie.
Guess we all got to take a dip. Guess we all got to.
I don't think we do.
No, I don't think we do.
I think that's
It broke even.
I think we broke even.
We can't have this on the episode without.
I mean, we could go with who didn't collude after this episode had started.
Yeah.
You say collusion. I say bringing in a new fan to your group, so you're welcome.
I mean, I
How do you do
could
it?
I could get
Yeah.
Just a tip.
I could get 3 or 4 people just to change their
You're gonna want
vote.
to put it on that napkin when you're done.
Is that enough?
That's fine.
There goes my mask. I'm sorry, Jordan. You just
Yep.
Don't worry, it'll burn away any possible germs we may have.
There it goes.
We don't have
There
any
it
water.
is.
oh.
You might not want to
Mask
do
back
that.
on.
How's it going, buddy?
It's all right. It's not bad.
All
It's
right.
not that far
I can
off from
smell
the.
it from here.
We can't make our guests do it and then not do
It's
it.
not that far off from the the insane whatever the hottest one at Taco Mac.
Ooh, that's a healthy.
That's a
That's
Yeah,
not eat that
bro.
much. I'm just gonna.
All right, give me a popsicle stick.
That's
Yeah.
Mitch.
yeah. Now Tom's gonna feel bad.
No, I'm not.
You should. Ooh. It's not that bad.
He's having a heart attack.
I'm like, I guess I'm the resident hot wing guy.
So
So you put it in your mouth.
this is the rule: if we all tie, if we all tie, you gotta take it for cursing. If we all tie, we all have to take.
Hand me a
hit.
napkin.
So
Maybe I didn't put it on the right part of my tongue. It's like-
you're just so strong.
Sorry, it just
all those
spreads like
muscles.
wildfire in California. It's like instant indigestion.
All right, so this we're about to do a punishment wheel of death.
Oh, we should have done that first. Oh, I keep getting like hiccups.
Each week we spin a wheel. One of us picks a person to do a bad movie, TV show, or video game, and we'll let Tom spin the wheel, and hopefully we don't die before that happens.
Spinning the wheel, spinning the wheel, spinning the wheel.
Tom, I need a sip.
It's Hayden by Mitch movie.
Oh, movie.
Of course it is.
Oh, let's see.
He had it ready to go, man. I think there's some collusion there,
Yeah.
dude. You already
No,
knew it was coming up.
I just never get to punish anybody, so I was going to have to pull it up.
Them hiccups.
Oh,
How do you guys not have condiments and drinks and treats for the guest?
oh, you're watching Super Baby Geniuses 2.
I think I haven't seen that one. I think I've
He's
seen
seen the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of my
He
kids.
loved it.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Baby Geniuses 2. Super Baby.
Scorsese's finest. So. Cool.
Eyes are
Well,
watering.
I'll have that ready, review ready for next week's episode, episode 28. Thanks so much
almost
for
30.
watching. Please comment and tell us what we need to do, what we can do to get better.
Comment, like, subscribe, suggest it to your friends. If they don't like it, find new friends.
Yep. And thanks so much for Troy.
Thank you, Troy.
If you have any questions about how to kill people, he's the guy to talk to. Just message one of us and we'll make sure you get in touch with him. All right. Thanks so much and goodbye.
Adios, muchachos.